Hey, welcome to Big Games Weekly Rewind. As you know, I'm your boy, James Canada, aka Big Game James, former Tampa Bay Buccaneer, Indianapolis Colts defensive lineman, here to kick off some of this weekend's hottest sports news. First and foremost, I want to say thank you for tuning in. And if this is your first time ever checking me out, please make sure that you hit that thumbs up and that notification bell so that you can know every time that brand new content is coming. Um, Tonight is Monday, and that is Big Games Weekly Rewind. Tomorrow, Tuesday, is Big Game Sports Buzz. Wednesday, the Sports Chop Shop is back. Thursday, two birds, one show, and we keep things going from there. So this past weekend, the NBA All-Star Weekend. Now, if you're out there watching, please drop a comment in that comment box below because I really want to know what you guys think. This weekend was crazy, man. I'm gonna say it like this. I'm a basketball fan. I played football, I know football, but yes, I do really like the game of basketball. And they talk bad about the NFL All-Star, I mean Pro Bowl game, but we are about to have to start to put the All-Star weekend in that same conversation. There's a lot that goes on, a lot that can be done, but man, it still leaves you wanting a little bit more. So first and foremost, the Rising Stars game happened on Friday night. Um, Now this I like a little bit more because it seems a little bit more like real basketball. These kids are out there playing a little bit harder, playing a little bit more. The tournament format, basically one quarter. That quarter they get to do their thing. Tournament style at the end, two teams get to go after it. First team to a certain amount of points wins. Um, I like that. I like that. The Rising Stars challenge. I mean the skills challenge on Saturday night. New team format, the way they did it. It left me scratching my head, y'all. It really did because they tried to change it up. They tried to make it a lot more fun, but it's hard to make it more entertaining. Um, I watched it. I mean, I'm guilty. I watched it. I'm like anybody else. I don't know if you watched it or not. I I had to tune in. I mean, I needed something to watch on Saturday night, so I checked it out and I scratched my head on that one as well. Then we got to the 3-point shootout. Thank God that you can't really do anything different with a 3-point shootout. I mean, 3-point shootout, you got the whole money ball rack now, which is cool, which has been around for a little bit long. And then they had like the far out shot, like Mountain Dew or Starry, whatever it was, had two spots for that. Um, Watching Dame Lillard knock those shots down was cool. Hard to beat that. I still think back to, the days of, Bird knocking them down back in the day and then Steph a couple years ago. But 3-point contest, I'll go ahead and I'll give you a clap on the 3-point shootout, man. It wasn't too bad. It wasn't too bad. Now, the NBA dunk contest. The dunk contest. First and foremost, man, I'm gonna say this. I was entertained. I was entertained. Compared to last year's dunk contest and this dunk contest, thank you for everybody that participated. It was well worth it. But I saw and heard some criticism today. So if anybody that did not catch the dunk contest, a player that's not an NBA player won this year's NBA slam dunk contest. And you might say, big game, how is that even possible? It's possible because the NBA let internet sensation and G League star Mac McClung participate in this year's dunk contest. And if you haven't seen Mac McClung before, he plays in the Philadelphia 76ers farm system in the G League, which is the Delaware Bluecoats, I believe it is. If I'm wrong, y'all please just chime in there and let me know in that chat box. But anyway, here it is. You have all these high flying, high profile dunkers that play in the NBA, but yet it's hard for them to find participants. So much so that they had to get somebody from the G League to participate. And when I say this dude that's barely 6 foot came out there and put on a show, man, let me tell you, he put on a straight show. It was awesome. I enjoyed it. I did some crazy shorts. I had my family looking at me like I was crazy 'cause I was yelling and screaming through the house, said the slam dunk contest was back. But then this morning, watching ESPN and some different shows, some guys had some very good points. Um, Will Brian Windhurst, NBA reporter, and even Vince Carter said, "What if we come to where we let the slam dunk contest become about social media fame and instant fame, and our own guys will not participate in it?" And that's very true because it takes me back to the days of Dominique Wilkins and Michael Jordan, Clyde Drexler, even Kenny Smith. Your big name guys, your big stars participated in the slam dunk contest to brag of who reigned supreme and who was the best dunker. And nowadays, we don't have that. I mean, because come on, let's think about it. If you can sit up here and honestly tell me that you don't want to see Ja Morant or Anthony Edwards in a slam dunk contest, I'll slap you right now. If you told me you never want to see them in a dunk contest, means you know nothing about dunking, don't care about dunking, and dunking's easy, right? Those guys need to participate. I know Ja's a mega star, walking around with his daddy looking like Usher and shit. You know what I'm saying? But Ja need to put on the shoes and enter the dunk contest and show the world how much of a great dunker he is. At that size, his explosion, they need to show who they are as dunkers. But nevertheless, not to take away from what Mac McClung did, the 520 double hezzy reverse dunk, dude. I'm telling you, if you hadn't seen it, go check out the shorts on my page. I put one on there and just check out some other stuff. Man, it was clean. It was clean, clean, clean. I loved it. But to Vince Carter's point, it is time to see some of these regular everyday NBA stars get in the slam dunk contest. It's needed. We need to see that. We got to see it. So, guys, if anybody stumbles upon this, knows anybody that knows somebody that taught somebody, tell them. Ja Morant, we waiting on you, dog. Get your butt in the slam dunk contest, man. We need to see it. Zion, if you ever get healthy enough to enjoy All Star Weekend, we need to see it. Anthony Edwards, you can fly, brother. We need to see it. Anyway, then you transition to Sunday. They did this whole street ball pick thing. And Giannis Antetokounmpo, man, shout out to you because right off the bat, Giannis picked John Morant, and it wasn't even time to pick the starters yet. So Giannis got the picking before they were supposed to pick the starter. So if you didn't see All Star Weekend, because I know some people say, "Yo, big game," I am not watching All Star Weekend. I don't give a damn. LeBron was a captain, Giannis was a captain, and so they had a setup where the reserves was a pool and the starters was a pool, and they had to pick from the reserves first, and then they got to pick from the starters. And so LeBron got the first pick, Giannis got second, and it just went back and forth like that. Teams were picked and settled, and boom, lo and behold, the game. They did the thing again where the team with the most points at the end of the quarter got $100,000 towards the charity of their choice or whatever it was. And at the first end of the first quarter was tied, and then they reset the clock, the score, and then after that, by the time the end of the game comes, excuse me, it is the first to a certain amount of points. I understand them doing it like that. I thought it was cool to see something different. Uh, nah, nah. Just go back to regular scoring, and then I'm watching this game, and the more I watch it, I'm having a hard time I'm having a hard time, like, even really paying attention because it's just layup, dunk fest, alley oop fest, and at the very end of the game, they just start jacking up shots from half court. I mean, it looked like the end of a shoot around at practice. Like, you know what, man? We done for the day. Let's get us some crazy shots. And that's what they were doing. And it made it hard to watch. It really did because, I think back to the days of Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan, Karl Malone, Larry Bird. I know I'm going way back. I'm showing my age a little bit. But when I was young and you watched those guys step on the court and play an all-star game, it was competitive the entire game. They wanted to win MVP, but they wanted their team to win. They really did. They weren't just out there playing to have fun, to shake hands and dap up the boys from other teams. And this year just seems like a big kumbaya camaraderie. Like, let's get together, let's shake hands, and let's be happy to be together in Salt Lake City. And it needs to get some fire back into it. Not one time did this game really get competitive to me. It was just like, well, shoot. And to make it worse, LeBron James hurt his finger in the game. He hit his hand on the rim. Don't know how long he's going to be out. He was already taking a break and chilling before this. And then Giannis got hurt that Thursday, the game against Chicago, right before All-Star weekend. He had to go get some more tests done on his wrist today. So needless to say, coming out of All-Star weekend, where a lot of guys probably got a little bit of rest, got a chance to enjoy um, their NBA brothers, some people are hurt and going to miss some games. But needless to say, I hope they get back soon. I hope that they'll be fine. Lord knows that LeBron James does not need to miss any more games, especially if the Lakers are ever going to make a run in the West. Yep, that shot's fired at LeBron because he finds a way to take a break. Load management, 38 years old. I understand. He's been in the league 20 years. He deserves it, right? Anyway, moving right along. The XFL kicked off this weekend. That's right, Extreme Football League, which started long time ago. WWE owner Vince McMahon was a big football fan and decided to do the XFL many moons ago. It folded, went away, came back in 2020 and was going strong until COVID hit. It went away, and then Dwayne Rock Johnson decided to buy into the XFL and kick it off again. And a lot of people said, "Man, I don't understand. The rules are different. Rules are a little different. It's some things they do different that I think are very cool. But for the most part, if you know football, you know football." So one of the things that I really do like about this, in the fourth quarter only, XFL teams have the option to try a 4th and 15 conversion from its own 25-yard line to retain possession following a score. So if you score a touchdown and you're down, you don't have to just go for an onside kick. You can try a 4th and 15 from the 25. And if you get that 4th and 15, you keep the ball, and it's just like you got the onside kick, or you can go for an onside kick. Some of the other notable XFL rule changes. The league is offering coaches the chances to challenge one time per game any possible play. So they have instant replay, but they're giving coaches a chance to, like, if you see if say the referee calls a pass interference and you don't think it was pass interference, they will now let you challenge that one play to see if it was pass interference or a holding. Like, man, he's holding my defensive end. Throw the flag. I want to challenge it. They run the playback. They see that the tackle held the defensive end. It's a penalty. It's something different. It's one player game. Not a bad thing because the naked eye, you miss a lot. Couple of different things, right there with that. But other than that, man, I thought it was some decent football being played. And former Cleveland Brown and Seattle Seahawk Josh Gordon had a hell of a weekend for the Seattle Sea Dragons. I like the names and stuff too on some of these uniforms. I'm not gonna lie, but a lot of people also wonder, they hit me on that big game, man. What are these guys making? Like, what kind of pay do they get? So XFL doesn't pay bad, y'all. It's $60,000 on average for the year. But the one thing that's concerning right now is back in 2020, it had a nice debut. It did very well. But this year, compared to 2020 opening day, the attendance was down roughly 20%. And I wonder if that's cause for concern for The Rock and the USFL, excuse me, the XFL board, and how things are going to go this season, because we know a lot of time in these leagues, people come out on opening day, they cheer, they scream, they yell, then you don't see them again until championship time. But I think it's a decent brand of football, but you have to look at it as that. If you go in expecting to watch the XFL and you expect it to be NFL football, and that's what you're trying to compare it to, you can't. Um, the one thing I like about these spring leagues that I liked about the USFL last year, and I know they'll continue this year, later spring, is that young guys who may go to an NFL camp and get cut that didn't get a lot of reps in camp, they can get reps now. They can get film. They'll have something that, NFL teams can look at and hope that they get a shot in the NFL. And like I said, you can't expect NFL caliber football. That doesn't mean there's not NFL caliber players on every team. You may not fill a whole roster with guys that are going to be NFL stars, but there's going to be some guys on those rosters that are capable and able to go play in the NFL. And they need that shot. They deserve that shot. So, XFL, I hope everything works out. I will be watching. I don't know if anybody else will be watching. I will find a way to work the XFL into Big Game Sports Buzz and one of our segments. Maybe between the lines when we talk NFL stuff, we'll drop an XFL nugget in there as well. And so the question that I had was, will the XFL last, or should The Rock continue to try to work out a merger deal with the USFL and let's just have one big spring league that could then maybe feed or act as a farm system to the NFL? I think it's necessary. Baseball has a farm system. Basketball has a farm system with the G League. NHL has a farm system. I believe the NFL needs one. Especially, they don't have NFL Europe anymore. You need to be able to send players somewhere to get that work. If you really want to try to retain them, maybe bring them back to your roster. Figure something out. Let's get a farm system worked out, and let's make something happen with that. But XFL, man, I got my fingers crossed, and I'm pulling for you, and I will be tuning in on the weekends to check you out in what you're doing. Now, it's time to keep this train moving and talk a little bit of NFL. So right now, there's a lot of coaching moves going on in the NFL, a couple other things going on, but we really know it until the draft, until the combine. We'll start talking about that. A lot of mock drafts are going on right now. I'm working on one right now for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Till we get to training camp, OTAs, free agency starts. We got to talk about something, right? And there's been a lot of coaching changes and moves going on, but one that really surprised me, Jay Stockton and I are really going to dig into it a lot deeper tomorrow. Eric Bieniemy left the Kansas City Chiefs. He left the Kansas City Chiefs, y'all, after coming off that Super Bowl win and Patrick Mahomes saying how much he meant to the team, what he did for the team. Bieniemy decided to shoot the Chiefs the deuce. Yeah, it really surprised the snot out of me, and I think more so than that, not that he left, where he went. He's going to join the Washington Commanders. Of all teams, Bieniemy is going to the Washington Commanders. Now, Ron Rivera is on the hot seat. I think that they're going to have to make the playoffs, so Rivera is going to be gone. But if I'm not mistaken, and like I said, if I ever make a mistake, I will check it out, come back on here and talk about it again, or like I said, ask my fans to put in the comment box if when you're watching this later. If Daniel Snyder sells the team, which I think he has to do here soon, new ownership comes in. I think they're going to have a new plan to go with a new regime of everything. So Bieniemy leaves a situation in Kansas City where I don't think Andy Reid's going to coach much longer, and I think that if he stayed there once Andy Reid retired, he may have been named the coaching waiting and got the job as the head coach. But nevertheless, he goes to the Commanders, a situation where it's just a hot mess. Don't know what they're going to do. Had Wentz, had Heineke. Forgot the third quarterback's name right now. I just drew a blank. That didn't work out. Been all over the place with it, and it's just been crazy. But he takes the OC, offensive coordinator position, and he's named assistant head coach as well. So best of luck to Eric Bieniemy. Makes me scratch my head on that one. And then, former Philadelphia Eagles running back Deuce Staley, who's been a coach in the league for a while. He was most recently on the Detroit Lions staff. He left that position to go join the Carolina Panthers as their running back coach and assistant head coach. And the rejoined working with Frank Reich before. And the Carolina Panthers also pulled the trigger and hired 2 minority coordinators. A lot of people were mad when Steve Wilkes did not get the job in Carolina and Frank Reich came in. He didn't retain him as a defensive coordinator, but he did go out and hire Thomas Brown as his offensive coordinator and Evero as his defensive coordinator. Now, Thomas Brown has been on the Rams staff back even when they won the Super Bowl as their running backs coach and assistant head coach, and he's moving into offensive coordinator role. He played at the University of Georgia, has a good resume as a running back in college, and done some serious work as a coach in the NFL. And I think it's a position that's warranted. And I said I was going to be the one. I was going to stop talking about color when it comes down to coaching and being hired and all this other stuff. But just for Frank Reich and the Carolina Panthers to go in a direction to where, often we complain about minority head coach. There's not enough minority head coaches. Sometimes there's not enough minority coordinators either. So for this to happen, just big up, shouts out to them, and I hope everything works out for those guys. Um, got a lot of work to do in that NFC South. It's a hot mess, and one name that keeps popping up, getting away from coaches to players, is Derek Carr. So Derek Carr, a while back we talked about it. He told the Raiders that he was not going to accept a trade. They went ahead and waived him before they had to pay him, all this money. And now, recently, Derek Carr took a visit out to New York to visit with the Jets. And the question that I have is Derek Carr a sexy enough name for the New York Jets? Um, we know that what they have in Wilson's not obviously not going to work. And the name that I heard prior to, and most of you guys heard as well, was Aaron Rodgers to the New York Jets because of who Aaron Rodgers is and that New York media. He's big enough for it. But then again, some people say that he's a baby and couldn't take it. That's what some NFL players said. But needless to say, when it comes down to comparison, Derek Carr or Aaron Rodgers, who do you think that the Jets should take? Now, me personally, I believe that Aaron Rodgers brings way too much drama than what you want leading into a situation. Um, Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers. My co-host on my normal show calls him Douche Rodgers. That's how much he thinks of him. He gets he's been in the center of the news for a bunch of different things. A lot of people have to say that he's a selfish teammate. Um, you can't really win around him. But I think that in a trade with Green Bay, the Jets would have to give up too much to get Aaron Rodgers and not have enough to help still build around that young team. They're young in a lot of positions, but a lot of key positions that a Derek Carr, although off the last couple of years, one beyond great, could work well, and it's definitely an upgrade of what you had. The Jets have probably been the most inconsistent at the quarterback position of every team in the NFL going back all the way to the days of Mark Sanchez, right? So they have to get it right. They have to find a way to get this thing right, make something good happen. But if it came down to me, if I'm the GM in that situation, I'm going Derek Carr over Aaron Rodgers. Now, I know Aaron Rodgers is a better quarterback. Don't misinterpret what I'm saying. Aaron Rodgers is way better talent wise. He just is too much headache for me, I think. Derek Carr can come in there, not be a distraction, help your team compete, help your team win, and all will be well. Now, moving on to my last tidbit of the night. And again, if this is your first time checking me out, please make sure that you hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and hit that notification bell so you know that every time that we're dropping brand new content and going live, it is greatly appreciated. If you ever have any questions, look in the comment box below. You can check some things out. Hey, Wallace, what's going on, man? So my man Wallace Smith just said, "What's good, James?" And I don't think Rodgers gets traded, and he plays with Green Bay again this season. Wallace, I can see that playing out in the long run, and it just leads me still to think, what the hell is wrong with the Green Bay Packers? Why in God's name did they draft Jordan Love if they were just going to sit on him, not use him, and keep Rodgers, who's hogging up so much of your cap space, and you wasted a pick on a quarterback in the first round that now maybe the topic should be, is Jordan Love who the Green Bay Packers should be packaging up to move somewhere else and get something for. Um, I don't know. It's just out there. I really feel bad for that kid because here it is. He wants to go into the NFL. He wants to play. He goes into a situation where you have a Hall of Fame caliber quarterback, an established quarterback. You think that he's going to get moved and you get a chance to play probably your second, third year, and it's more likely not happening. You just sitting back there on the bench with a clipboard, watching and learning the best you can. It's a bad situation, man. So Green Bay fans and ownership, excuse me, that's what y'all made me do every time I think about the situation and what's going on in Green Bay. So last but not least, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers finally find an offensive coordinator. So the Buccaneers, as we know, at the end of the season, Byron Leftwich was let go. Tampa's offense was very, very vanilla, to say the least. Some would say mediocre. And I was really surprised by what it looked like this year. I didn't think that they would fall off that much from Arians stepping down and Bowles taking over, especially since you had the entire same staff in place from the Super Bowl win and last year and the year before when they went to the divisional round before losing to the Rams in overtime. But anyway, Dave Canales joins the Buccaneers after spending last season as the Seattle Seahawks quarterback coach. He's been with Pete Carroll for the last 13 years. And this was a long list of candidates. Like every time I turned on the internet, went to my Buccaneers page, it was like Buccaneers are interviewing XYZ Munchin. They're interviewing um, Ronald Curry. They're interviewing Keenan McCardell. They're interviewing Bob, whatever. They were interviewing somebody all the time. So here it is. The search was intensifying, and it got down to their 10th, the 10th candidate that Bowles and them interviewed that they decided to hire. Now, a lot of people have said that this isn't a big enough name or a big enough hire, that the Buccaneers should have got somebody with a more known name. I like this pick for some reason. Reading up on Canales, he did an interview with Coach Dungy a couple years ago when he was, the quarterback coach, and Tony raved about the young mind that this guy was. That he was very, very advanced. He had some good things um, that he was implementing in Seattle, and that it was interesting. And I just say this: look at the magic he worked with Geno Smith. And yeah, I'm going to give him the credit because Geno Smith has been in the league, and Geno Smith was not the best of quarterbacks when he had his chance to start in New York, right? Been a backup, holding a clipboard. And here it is. Geno Smith came out and was very, very relevant this year for the Seattle Seahawks. So I believe that Canales brings something. He's going to be able to work with whatever quarterback the Buccaneers go with, um, which is a very interesting situation. If you want to know what I think about the Buccaneers quarterback situation, please go to Big Game Sports Buzz on YouTube and check out a couple of my quarterback stories. One, who's the Bucks' next quarterback, and the other one, will the Buccaneers draft AR 15 from the University of Florida? Will they move up to make that pick? I don't want to tell you what I think. Go check those videos out, please. But here it is. You have a young coordinator. He's not really proven as far as being a coordinator. He's proven as being a quarterback coach. He's had success. I believe he comes in with something to prove because most coordinators, I say most, I don't know, I ain't talked to Canales, but most coordinators want to move up. They want to get ahead. They want to get that label of being a great offensive mind to maybe become a head coach one day and do other great things or prove that there's things that they've always wanted to do that they can do and they will work. So I believe the Buccaneers get a young quarterback whisperer that will work out, that can help Kyle Trask, or even if we bring in a veteran, somebody that can work, we get somebody that knows how to coach a mobile quarterback. He had Russell Wilson before, even had Gino where he can get in and out the pocket. I think it's a win-win situation. Now Todd Bowles as his OC. I know he may not want to do it. Hire a DC, Todd. Get yourself as being the team manager because we know that realistically, this is make it or break it for Todd Bowles. You know what I'm saying? Like Todd Bowles has to get it done this year. I think he has to win the division. He has to get to the playoffs and just have a better showing in that first round game while they rebuild. Um, and I'm not gonna say rebuild if we as long as we keep Mike Evans, which is another story within itself. And I put that out there today too. What the Buccaneers should do with Mike Evans. Please check that out again, like I said, on Big Game Sports Buzz. But it's gonna be a tough situation no matter what. Tabo's gonna be looking over his shoulder all year. He goes out and finds a guy that he thinks is right for the situation we have. And another thing, I think some of the big names that Buccaneer fans wanted to come in and be offensive coordinator, we may not have been able to get those guys because we did not have the picks. You know what I'm saying? We did not have, I mean, excuse me, we did not have the quarterback in place with Brady retiring, not knowing what our quarterback situation was going to be. That's probably a hard sell for a lot of coordinators until you get someone that really wants to prove themselves. So, shout out to the Buccaneers and for going out and getting a guy that they believe can come in and get things done. And a guy I believe that's going to be hungry enough. And he had to learn some good things. Pete Carroll's he's got longevity in this league. He's been around a long time. He's had success. And for someone to be able to be around him on his staff for that long, I think speaks volumes about the kind of mind he has. He's only 40-some years old, guys. He's been in the NFL for over the past 13 years or whatever. So anyway, that's about all your boy got for you tonight, y'all, on the weekly rewind, man. The NBA All-Star Weekend, XFL, NFL coaching moves. Like I said, please make sure that you tune in to Big Game Sports Buzz Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Central Time with your boy James Canada, aka Big Game James, and Jay Stoggs, aka the Buff Nerd, as we bring you four downs, oh hell nah, one got to go between the lines and our top five. Hey, Wallace, let me pull this up for you real quick, James. I don't think it's a problem for Bowles calling the defense plays if they have the talent on defense. Wallace, this okay. Todd Bowles can call plays, but this is my whole thing. And the reason I say that, I saw it with a guy like Tony Dungy. Tony was the head coach. Tony ran the ship. He let his coordinators do what they needed to do, and it allowed him to be a straight manager of the team, which he did well, right? Tony could have stepped in at any time and called the defense or not hired Monty Kiffin and been a defensive coordinator and a head coach. I just think it works better to where some coaches aren't made to wear a lot of hats at one time. You know what I'm saying? Like Todd Bowles is a great defensive coach, and he'll always be known as a defensive coach. He needs to be known as being a good or great head coach, and he hasn't been able to do that yet. So I think wearing one hat, focusing on one thing, helps him learn how to be that ultimate team manager. Because at the end of the day, your head coach really comes down to being a manager. He's a manager of people and of coaches and making sure everything is run right. And he gets to sit back and bask in the glory, or he gets to sit back and take all the shots when things are bad. You know what I'm saying? Like when it's bad, they firing. He catching them. You know what I'm saying? So I don't disagree with you to where Todd Bowles is capable of doing both, but just me in the situations that I've been in, um, playing in the league, I just think it's harder to wear multiple hats for certain people. Not to say that Todd Bowles couldn't do it. I just don't think that he does it very well. And I could be wrong. If you think I'm wrong, let me know in the comments below, man. I really do appreciate you tuning in and let me know what you think. Wallace, man, you are always checking us out and supporting the shows. We really, really, really appreciate that. And again, if you are checking us out after the live version, please make sure go in there, leave your comments. I'll make sure I always get back to you, comment back, let you know what I think. I love hearing from you, whether good, bad, happy, or sad. All comments, man, are welcome. Just keep it clean and appropriate. I do appreciate it. So, for Big Game Entertainment, I am former NFL defensive lineman James Canada, aka Big Game James, former Tampa Bay Buccaneer and Indianapolis Colt. And this is Big Games Weekly Rewind. Please continue to tune in and support the channel. Until next time, y'all be good. Peace.